Welcome. Welcome to Awaken, Expand, and Align, this month's virtual circle. And this is June's virtual circle. Before we get started, I'd like to invite you to just put everything down for a moment. If you want to have a notepad and pencil close by to take notes, that's great. But I'd like to invite us to just take a moment. And if you want, you can put both hands right on your chest. Gently put a little pressure there and take a nice, easy breath together. If it's comfortable, you can breathe your eyes closed and just take another nice big breath, inviting your head now to come down into your heart. And with another breath, focus on your inhale and your exhale, gently allowing yourself to arrive here. Just for now, let the to-do list fall away and just focus on your breath and on your body, opening your heart to receiving exactly what you came here for. Whether you're listening to the recording or you're here live, why did you say yes to joining me today? How do you want to feel as we journey together today? And how do you want to feel after you're complete? Just feel into that, setting your intention for this to happen. When you're ready, you can breathe your eyes open and come back to the call. Welcome from here. Today, I'm going to share how easy it is to get caught up in unhealthy patterns, in fear, in spiraling. We're human and we all get triggered and can get caught up in those spiraling patterns that keep us stuck, often based in fear. And I'm going to share some simple tools to help us stay present and grounded and connected so that we can move forward in life in a healthy way. And I think that this planet is just getting ramped up and so much chaos and uncertainty that this was a really good topic to cover today. Sometimes life can feel a little out of control. So these are practices. I'm going to especially focus on one after we kind of go into a little bit of background, but I'm going to focus on one specifically today that I find is especially powerful. And these practices are what I use personally. And I promise they're not only practical, they're surprisingly powerful. And as you'll probably soon see, they can actually change your life. You'll probably notice that I'm going to try to speak a little slower today as well, because that right there is a tool that we can use to regulate our nervous system. Sometimes we get ramped up and I can talk fast and I can get really excited about what I'm going to share. And normally this is the way I talk. And I might get going and then take a breath and come back into pacing myself a little slower because I think this is a really good practice for when we're around triggering people, triggering situations, to take that breath and just insert a pause. For those of you that haven't met me yet, my name is Cindy Powers Prosser. I'm a transformational coach, speaker, and I refer to myself these days as a soul guide. And for over 20 years, I've helped people move out of fear and overwhelm and into clarity, confidence, inner peace, and love. My work is about helping people come home to themselves to listen to their inner knowing, to navigate uncertainty with trust and grace, and to create their life with joy and love from the inside out rather than the outside in. And this morning, in our short time together, we're going to talk about the nervous system, what happens when it gets dysregulated, and I'll give you a couple powerful tools to bring yourself back into self-regulation so that you can stay centered, grounded, and connected to yourself, no matter what's going on around you. So, what is a dysregulated nervous system? Well, have you ever felt anxious, overwhelmed, disconnected from yourself in any way, like you're kind of floating outside of your body, unable to focus, unable to relax? Maybe you can feel like you're looping around something in perfectionism or trying to control or trying to explain something, and it just seems to keep looping and looping. These are all symptoms of your nervous system being dysregulated. So, might feel like racing thoughts, your chest gets tight, you start to breathe shallow. There's a sense of urgency or even dread. Some people wake up in the morning feeling those things. Emotional reactivity or even numbness, difficulty concentrating or following directions, making decisions, and again, just spiraling or looping or reacting and feeling like you're out of control. So these are all natural responses. We're human. This is part of the human experience. But especially when your body perceives a threat, even if there's no danger present, no obvious danger present. So it could be a tense conversation. We often have what I refer to as our biggest teachers in life that can actually trigger us and create that tenseness where we play the blame game or whatever, pointing our finger out there to wanting that changes so that we feel a different way. Too much noise or overstimulation, scrolling, social media, watching the news. That was a big one for me. 9/11, I haven't since 9/11, I haven't watched the news. I know that's one of my bad ones. Feeling rushed, overextended, unseen, not respected, even getting out of your comfort zone and kind of pushing yourself a little more than your nervous system's ready for can kind of spiral you and have you leave your body. And I'm going to share an experience that shortly that happened to me. Now, these moments are often referred to as fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or flop. I just learned about flop recently and I liked it. That's when you just like stop, procrastinate, numb out. And fawn, which I had to look up once upon a time, is being in compliance or codependent, like the people pleaser, saying yes when you really don't want to. And while these protective patterns can be helpful when they're needed, they can also keep us stuck in a loop of stress or unhealthy patterns, even if you don't need to be there. And if you don't know how to come back into center. So, what does looping and stress look like? Well, we've all been there, I'm sure. Just think of the last time you felt some pressure, some anxiety, spinning in anxiety, overreacting or explaining something over and over again. OCD behavior, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, and just trying to control or perfect, martyrdom. Um, it happens again to all of us. It's not something that's wrong or bad. So it's not something to judge. It's just something that if we can take responsibility for ourselves and slow things down enough so that we can notice when we're in dysregulation and have the tools to come back into regulation, that's what I refer to often as taking our power back. And it's super powerful. So why does this happen? Well, as an early childhood educator, I truly believe, we've been taught that our thoughts and our emotions create our reality and to just change your thoughts and your emotions. But it's so much bigger than that. And I believe that it stems with our nervous system. And what happens is something happens to us or is shown to us when we're really little, might be role modeled or done or taught to us by a well-intentioned adult, like a parent or a teacher. Um, Something could have happened or a role model that is creates an unhealthy behavior or a fear or a wound, and it keeps us looping whenever something like that occurs again, or if it's a habit that we learned, such as being a good girl, because we got our need for love and approval met. So if it's a habit like that, it keeps us in that loop, stuck in that pattern, and it keeps us so that we can't feel the amount of happiness or joy or ease that we might be desiring. Um, Now I'm going to open up for questions at the end. So if you have questions, write those down because I'm giving information. A lot of this is what I teach. So if you've been with me for a while, it may sound familiar. So even if we know it's not okay and we know we're spinning and looping, it becomes so deeply ingrained with us that it's a habit. And often we don't know what we don't know because we're so in it. It's not even conscious. Other people might see it, but we can't even see it, and we don't know when we're looping. So the key is to just make it conscious. And that's why these conversations and having someone who you trust and can have a conversation about this with each one of us is so powerful. So just take a moment now and think of what is a trigger that may trigger you in some of these feelings. Do you have a specific teacher in your life? Like mine was my mother, my brother, and even my son. And um, and it could be a situation that happened to you when you were younger. So one of my superpowers as an early childhood educator and a metaphysical coach is working with the inner child. And I believe this inner child work is really powerful because even though you're not a child anymore, you're not 5, the essence of the child is still inside of you. And so doing that deep inner child work and healing or integrating that pain from within and learning how to be there for yourself in all the ways you've wanted other people to be there for you is so powerful. And although we're not going to do that work today, that is really an incredible amount of, that's incredible. What I call that's learning to love yourself, learning to have compassion for yourself and to be there for yourself. So the inner child work is really important. And I believe that a lot of our triggers are based in something that happened to us or was showed to us when we were little. So the inner child work is one of them. But I'm going to teach some other things. We're not going to go that deep into the inner child work today. Although I'm going to give you an example of that because I think it's the inner child work. One of the reasons why I'm so passionate about working with children and parents, which is what I did for my first 50 years as a professional. I help parents not put holes in their children's buckets because I was so impacted by a hole in my bucket that I created a profession to help prevent that happening to others. I'm going to give you a quick story. When I was when I was young, my mother put me into school early for my age. And although I looked age appropriate, socially and emotionally and cognitively, I was still quite young. And I was able to keep up with the class until I was about 7. And at 7 years old, I remember excitedly raising my hand to answer a question in front of the whole class, standing up and giving the answer. And because it was not age appropriate, it was young. the class laughed at me and the teacher told me to sit down. And I remember the feeling of shame that happened to me in that moment, like it happened yesterday. And because they didn't catch it and they continued to keep me in this inappropriate level, I got put into lower classrooms. I mean, not lower classrooms, lower programs. I was in the red program, which was the lower IQ kids. And my mother even referred to me as mentally retarded once. And so I had this feeling that, I was not smart enough. And every time I would get in front of a group of people, this inner child would get triggered, and I would literally leave my body and go into major shame and pain. And so this followed me all the way up until into my adulthood. And when I was teaching classes and working with parents, I was great one-on-one. I was great in front of my class. But when I was doing a large class or speaking to a group of, say, five or more adults, I literally would leave my body and I couldn't talk. And I didn't understand why because I knew the material. And it wasn't until I got my first metaphysical coach who explained to me that I was pushing my inner child out in front of that group and I was embodying the essence of my inner child and embodying that pain and shame that happened to me when I was 7. I was actually leaving the adult that you see right now behind. So I've done that work and I know how to soothe myself and, keep her safe so that I, the spiritual adult, can be here with you today. And my inner child is definitely happy doing what she wants to do instead. Um, so let's just take a nice big breath together because that was really, that was a vulnerable story for me to share. And I feel pretty grounded still because of the tools that I can use. So there are many, many tools to take your power back. Like I say, the first step is to recognizing when you get dysregulated or triggered in a pattern or a habit that is not serving you. And the breath is definitely one of those tools. And again, if you've been in my world for a while, you know that I teach diaphragmatic breathing, really doing a slower than usual diaphragmatic breath to a count of 6 or 8, holding it gently at the bottom, and then releasing it with a long exhale. So why don't we just take a couple of those right now? So when you're ready, take an inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can keep going on your own, but what I want to encourage you is to really inhale so that your belly expands out with the inhale, and you even feel the inhale in your back, right below your rib cage. And then when you release the exhale, you want to release it from the belly first, and then finally the chest. And this is what I refer to as a diaphragmatic belly breath. And even just consciously taking 3 to 5 of these diaphragmatic belly breaths, setting the intention that you are coming back into your body, you are grounded, conscious, and safe, is a wonderful way to come back into regulation with your nervous system. And I highly recommend that you practice this throughout your day, even when you don't think you need it. So come on back to the call. How was that for you guys? If you want, you can, if you want to talk, you can, and we can open that for a quick, but you can also put it in the chat and just let me know how that was. If you do that on a regular basis, um, it's one of those tools that I try to do throughout the day. I try to do it at least once an hour while I'm working in my office. Just get up and take that breath and then just take a breath out and stretch and then come back and then start again. Great. Karen says it's beautiful. You feel beautiful and warm. Wonderful, Karen. Yeah, it helps you to come back into center, into your body, into the present moment, out of your head and into your body. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to teach you just a couple others that I'm just going to quickly go through. Again, we don't have time to go through a whole lot. That would be a retreat or a program. But a few other simple tools that I use on a regular basis are what I call earthing or grounding outside, putting your feet or your body on the ground outside. 15 minutes is ideal, but even 5 will make a difference. Putting music on, that is soothing and calming. Dancing and moving your body, walking, going out in nature. There's so many with the body movement. Screaming into a pillow, releasing anger that way, shaking your body. And I can start with one hand and then another hand and then going with my arm and just shaking, shaking, shaking if you have a lot of pent up spiraling energy. And then one of my favorites, which I teach to my children and grandchildren, is a butterfly pat. And it's very calming and soothing. So if you want to try that right now, it's just a real gentle patting. The slower you go, the easier it is, just like, and if you want, you can do a rocking with it too. And this is a really nice soothing exercise. It just brings you back to I'm safe. I am grounded. I am here. This is a really good one to give to children that get wound up. Great. All right. So, in the remaining time we have together, I am going to share a powerful tool that I have been recently introduced to. It's a Buddhist practice, and it helps us to slow down and pause. So the key is to become conscious enough to press pause so that we can look at our choices and choose a dysregulating tool, leave the room, shake our body. Even if we go into the loo and look into our eyes in the mirror and then come back and try again. That's the key here, okay? To be able to insert the pause. And it takes practice. So instead of reacting to life, we can consciously respond to life. So this practice that I'm going to teach you is called 5 senses. And it's really fun to do it with a partner. And I love to do it with, I'm actually going to do it with I have almost a 7-year-old grandson that I'm excited to teach him this when I see him next month. But I'm going to role model this for us first, and then I'm going to take you guys through it so that you can watch me. And then I'm going to take you guys through the exercise. So we start with just slowly breathing into center. and I'm going to name 5 things that I see in the room here in detail. And it's really powerful to do this out loud. Or if you can't do it out loud, like if you're in a public area, you can write them down. It's much better than just doing it in your mind. So the first thing I see is a picture on my wall, and it's of Anora Bay. And it is of a mount, it has a mountainous area. It looks like summer, brown mountains, golden mountains in the background, a beautiful calm ocean, a big white sandy beach, and a tree in the foreground. And the picture has a white edge all around it. The second thing I see is the wall next to me here. It's out of knotty pine. The pieces of wood are about that wide, and it's light brown or golden, light golden, and it has some brown, dark brown, and medium brown knots in it, and it's smooth. Looking out my window behind my computer, I see a big bay leaf bush. It's about 20 feet tall. It's big. And the leaves are really nice and full. And it's very thick and green. That's 3. My fourth one is I'm looking out the window over here and I see a railing. It's made out of wood and it's weathered wood. And it has 3 rails and then a wooden floor underneath it. And the last thing I see is a hose, and it's curled up in loops, and the end of it is in a little hook on the wall with a orange tip on the end of it. Okay, now I'm going to do 4 things that I feel. I feel this shirt on my body. It's light and it's linen, so it feels really good and cozy. And it's loose. That's the first thing. The second thing is I feel my feet. My right foot is on the ground and my left ankle is resting on top of my right foot. So I can feel the weight of my left foot on my right foot. And the third thing I feel is that my right foot is on a wooden block that's underneath it, and it feels cool and very firm. And then the fourth thing I feel is this seat, and it's supporting my back and my bottom, and it's really soft. And the back is kind of, if I can lean back and forth on it so I can rock on it. And it's really warm and comfortable and cushy. 3 things that I hear. I just heard a little creak, and it probably came from the wood that this building is made out of. I can hear some water in my diffuser as I am diffusing some essential oils, and I can hear the bubbles of my water. And I hear a bird call very quietly outside. Two things that I can smell. I smell my hair. The conditioner that I put in it smells clean, and it smells nice. That's about all I can say about that. And I smell, ah, I have some essential oil. Mmm. This has a floral and almost a woody combination to it. It's deep, but it's also a little fresh, but I think it's more woody than it is floral. And it's really soothing. What's it say on it? Focus blend. Okay. And the last, I'm going to name one thing that I can taste. I happen to have something here. I put some lemon in my water, and I can taste the lemon in this water. And it tastes sweet and sour and refreshing. And the temperature is warm. Okay, now I'm going to take a nice easy inhale and an exhale. And I'm going to turn to my right. I'm going to turn to my left. And I'm going to notice how I feel. I feel really good. Really grounded, really in my body, really happy, really peaceful, and really centered. And I want to tell you, you can do this outside, and it's really powerful outside. Sometimes I'll do it on my walk if I need to ground myself and just be more conscious. It's really fun to do outside and even on a walk. You can see how this would be fun to do with kids. Yeah. Okay, so it's your turn. Now, if you want to get any props, because now you know what you're going to get, what you're going to do, you're welcome to take a moment. But even if you just taste the saliva in your mouth, that's good. All right. So I want you to just, now again, if you can, say it out loud and do it muted so that I don't. So if you haven't pressed mute, please do. Um, let's see, I can mute you, Karen. Okay. And if you can say it out loud, that's ideal. If you can't, write it down. And I will take you into this, and I want you to be as detailed as possible. Speak as slowly as you can. And I'm going to have you start by just taking a nice, deep, centering breath and setting the intention that this will be fun and powerful. And I want you to find one at a time 5 things that you see and share them out loud in detail. The first one, I'll walk you through the numbers. And look at me when you're done for the first one, and I'll say the second. Okay, the second one, oh gosh. The third one, The fourth one. And the fifth one. Okay, great. Now name four things that you feel. They can be inside your body, outside your body, and you can stroke something. First one, you should be doing the first one, yes. The second one, and again, do it in detail. The third one, and the fourth one. And when you're done, look at me. Okay, great. All right, now three things that you hear. The first one, this, the second one, and the third one. That one's nice to do with music too. Can hear specific instruments. All right. Name three things that you smell. There was two things. I think I said three. Two things that you smell. The first one and the second one. Something that you smell. And finally, one thing that you taste. Okay, so when you're done, then I want you to slowly breathe in, stretch up and out, and then turn to your right Mm. And when you're ready, turn to your left. And just notice how you feel. And if you would like, I'd love to hear anybody that wants to share your experience, how you feel, any feedback. Just unmute yourself.
I just apologise. I'm actually a little bit sick today, so the last the smell and the taste weren't very strong for me because I'm not well. I have double glazed windows, so I had to really listen, and I didn't realise I could actually hear some of the traffic outside.
Ah,
But the first two were really beautiful. The feel one, I think, it felt really good. Yeah,
great.
really helped me to go right inside myself.
Allie, you're just a little bit slow there because of your internet. I'm sure you'll come back, but you froze. But thank you for sharing. And yeah, the feeling, the feeling is really important. And there you are, you're back now, Allie. You just froze a little bit. But we got enough out of that that yes, the
Oh, was
feeling was,
that me that froze up?
I think so, or was
No,
it me?
I muted and then just sat here. I could hear someone speaking. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was me.
Anyway, did you get what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I
Okay.
heard
Cool.
was that the feeling was really
The
powerful.
feeling was very powerful. That was the last thing I said. So yeah. So you were waiting on me. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. Remember, we're going slow today anyway.
Very slow.
So that's great. And that is good feedback to know that even just the feeling part, just pausing and coming back into your body and feeling five things, noticing five things that you feel can bring you back into regulation and get you back into center so that you can come back into whatever it might be. For me, it would be walking on stage in front of a big group of people. But whatever that trigger could be for any of us, perfect. So good. Anybody else want to share? No? And if you do, okay, no problem, no problem at all.
I'll Can you hear me, Cindy?
Yes, Teresa, I can.
Oh, sorry. Nikki's going first. Go, Nikki.
Oh,
Am I going first? Hi, Teresa. That was really amazing, Cindy. Again, I found the feeling thing really brought me right into the present. And I really loved all the practical tools that you have at your fingertips. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate you sharing. It's so fun to interact. And Teresa,
I really love this exercise, and I'll just say how I started. I had to be very mindful to not stare at the laundry that's sitting here and having to do it. So I had to intentionally look out because my default is often to see what needs to be done instead of
yeah.
the beauty
And
that's around.
I love that you made that conscious. That is a great example of conscious choice. And I just love that you said that out loud because that is an absolute thing that we could do is look at something and go, oh, that picture's crooked or whatever. And you really caught yourself, you paused, you noticed, and then you made another choice. And that's exactly what we're working on. Great job. I love that you shared that. Thank you. Would anybody else like to share? Again, not necessary, but really fun. And if you need me to unmute you, just raise your hand. Because sometimes that can be difficult too. Okay, so sometimes emotions can come up. I've done this recently with someone who was feeling really sad. And that is another powerful option that this could bring is, you're slowing down enough and not numbing out or, being busy. And sometimes the emotions can start to be represented, start to feel, your body can feel. And when that happens, I just want to encourage you to allow that to come up and just notice that. And just notice how your body responds to feeling whatever it is you're feeling and where you feel it in your body and how you feel after. It's one of the best tools we have is to be able to feel and release any stuck emotions in a safe way. Or if it's a really wonderful emotion, to feel and expand it. So joy, gratitude, optimism. Okay. So another thing that I teach in my practice is emotional intelligence. And so, yeah, it's kind of an extra bonus if you get some emotions coming in, if it's in an appropriate place. So yeah, have fun with this. This is a really powerful tool exercise. And I say that it's really fun to do it in pairs so that you can witness someone else doing it. You notice that was pretty powerful too. And then somebody can hold space and witness you while you do it. And it's not mandatory, but it is really fun. I definitely think I'll do that at one of my next live events, like a retreat or a workshop, because it'll be really fun to do in a room. Okay, now I notice we have a little bit of time, and I didn't put a whole bunch of information in this call because I knew I was going to be speaking slower and talking slower and doing things at a slower pace. So, does anybody have any questions? Because I do have some time for questions today. Anything that you have going on that you just want a little more clarity around? Maybe how do I deal with this person that is my biggest teacher? I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of time for any coaching, but any feedback or questions about this topic? I can give you another little story, which is always nice. I have someone who's close to me that one of the reasons why this has become a lot more conscious, this whole nervous system dysregulation and regulation concept and subject has become more conscious to me is I had someone who's very close to me go into an anxiety trauma attack earlier this year. And I had not experienced anything like that within myself, except for speaking on stage. But it gave me the opportunity to really work with this person who was vulnerable enough to allow me to support them. And I learned so much through their experience of what it feels like to lose yourself in an anxiety attack and how to come back into regulation. And that person didn't have any tools in place. And now I'm happy to say that was 6 months ago. They have a lot of tools in place and they use them every day. And what one of my mentors, Jim Self of Mastering Alchemy, has always taught: practice when it doesn't count. So I would suggest that you guys, like I say, I stop and breathe every single day throughout the day. It's just one of those lifelines for me, just to come back into center. And then I'll start my writing or my teaching or my whatever again. You can see I did it even with you in this hour. But going outside, moving your body, noticing what you hear when you're outside, or noticing a beautiful flower and really stopping and describing it, that's powerful. And so many of us get so ramped up that we're just going from one activity to the next, that we don't pause to notice a sunrise or a rainbow. And in New Zealand, we have a lot of great ones. Um, and if you've been following me for a while, you notice I'm pretty good at that. I love nature. I think my superpower is being over doing. And it's why I haven't had an anxiety attack, I'm sure. It can't catch up to me. So I just want to thank you so much. If I can support you at all, and I like to offer these calls once a month as a gift from me to you, um, please reach out and let me know if there's a topic you'd like me to share. I mean, if there's a specific topic that you want me to talk about in one of these calls, let me know. I need your feedback. You're why I'm doing this. So let me know. You know, I'll have my email by now. And if I can support you at all, I have a private coaching practice. I will be offering retreats and programs at the end of this year. I'm putting them together now. I'm taking off and going to the US in about 2.5 weeks to be with the other side of my life, my family and my friends there. I'll be gone for 4 months. So you'll be seeing me on the other side of the earth next month in summer. So that'll be fun. And it's a lot different life for me over there. I'll be using more of these tools. It's way more amped up. So I just want to thank you so much for being here. Really, thank you so much. Take good care of yourselves. Reach out to me. I love to hear from you. I always respond. And if anybody wants to say anything before we say goodbye, now is a great time, either in the chat or unmute yourself. And thank you.
I just want to say thank you. And I didn't realize you were in New Zealand.
Ah, I
Nice
am.
to meet you all.
My American accent often.
That threw me.
I moved here 21 years ago, and I go back and forth between America and New Zealand. So
Oh, lovely.
I'm on a pilgrimage in 2.5 weeks back. They're both home. Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. And thank you for speaking up and saying your last moments. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you, Allie.
You too. See you again, everyone.
All right. Anybody else want to say anything before we say goodbye? Just don't want to hang up too prematurely. All right. Lots of love, you guys. Thanks again for joining me. Bye for now.